Dear friends, we are continuing our dialogues when we are inviting, we are inviting the best guests with the most professional guests, which are ready to talk very honestly about what is going on in the world and especially in the Europe. And today I have the exact guest Istvan Gyarmati, doctor, ambassador, President of International Center for Development and Democratic Transition. Istvan, welcome.
Thank you very much. I'm very happy to be with you.
For me too, for me it's a big honor to ask you about what is going on around and inside of Hungary because of this very significant parliamentary elections, which was in many cases unpredictable and very competitive, and the result of which will be significantly not only internal but also geopolitical. To what extent can the result of the recent parliamentary elections in Hungary be considered a systemic shift rather than an electoral anomaly? Which factors were underestimated both domestically and external observers when they were trying to analyze the ongoing Hungarian campaign?
Well, I think if you look at the political system of any country, I mean, functioning modern state, you will see that their democracy is somewhere between 0 and 10 on a scale. There is no 10. No democracy will receive 10 from me, 9 hopefully. 0, yes, there are many countries that would get 0. So what is changing in Hungary is I'm sorry, is the place of Hungary on this scale. And now I think we and that's a normal thing. So it's not a systemic change in terms of what happened in 1989 or 1990. I can compare it to what happened in 2010, where some kind of a liberal democracy, not a very well functioning, but some kind of a liberal democracy was changed through democratic vote to what the Prime Minister called illiberal democracy. And now I think the change is very similar, that we are moving not back, but we are moving forward to liberal democracy again. So I would say that if Hungary is on this scale around that, I would say 5 today, we will move towards 8, not more than that, and that will take time. So systemic change, yes, in terms of politics, but not in terms of system as we saw in 1989 and 1990. There is no need, because if there is a systemic change in terms of what happened in 89 and 1990, that would mean that a democracy, because Hungary is a democracy, scale 5, not scale 9, but what would happen, a systemic change would mean that we move away from democracy. We move away from market economy to what is the alternative. The only alternative available is some kind of communism. So, and that has not been the case in Hungary since 1989, or even before. We have been moving away from that. So in this case, or in this understanding, there is a huge change, but it's not a systemic, not a regime change, not a system change, but a political change. Very significant. We'll have a lot of implications, a lot of issues, and a lot of elements will change, but the groundwork as a democracy will stay.
And which interest groups, elites, business actors, regional structures, international stakeholders emerged as the main beneficiaries of these elections, and who, conversely, suffered strategic losses because of these elections? Because in any case, opposition can win election only in half, at least at half democratic system, because opposition cannot win election in illiberal system. No one let them win election in illiberal system. So this pivot of Hungarian policy means that Hungarian system is still half of even competitive democracy, maybe not ideal, but competitive democracy. But who is the main beneficiaries and who is the main losers after this election?
I think the most important element of this of the result is that something that I consider the very basis of what happened in Hungary, of the move towards illiberal democracy, is corruption. Because if you have systemic corruption, and we do have, or do have, hopefully won't, systemic corruption, this means that the rule of law cannot stay. Because if you have systemic corruption cannot happen in a country where there's independent judiciary, where there are laws that are observed, where there is a free market competition. So I think the core problem of Hungary and many other countries also is corruption. And now that I'm pretty sure that the new government, the new system will change this. Not only some people are afraid that corruption will stay, only the main beneficiaries of corruption will change. I think that's not the case. First of all, that's not what the government wants, what the new government or the new political elite wants. But also because even if they wanted, they couldn't do it, because they don't have the resources, they don't have the time, they don't have the support or the tolerance of the society. So corruption will not go away entirely, but it will be reduced to a normal, whatever normal corruption is, corruption which is there in most democratic countries. The extent is very different. So corruption that destroys the economy, that destroys the market, and therefore requires destroying also the rule of law, that will not happen in Hungary. That will change in Hungary. So consequently, who are the losers and who are the beneficiaries? The Hungarian losers are those who were beneficiaries of corruption, and we can name some of them. But the problem is that almost everybody was part of it. A small scale or much larger scale. So you cannot eradicate corruption entirely, but the large scale corruption, the systemic corruption will disappear. So the losers are those who were beneficiaries of large scale corruption, including some foreign powers, some foreign countries who benefited both economically and also politically from the corrupt system in Hungary. I don't want to name Russia as the main beneficiary, but I think it's clear for everybody that Russia was the main country that not only from outside but also from inside, unfortunately, benefited from the system. So who are the winners? I think the winners are everybody else, because the systemic corruption gone, economy will have a chance to improve, to become a normal economy, a market economy, a regulated market economy. If you want a social market economy, or whatever we call it, but it will be a functioning market economy. There are a lot of problems ahead of it. The Hungarian economy is in shambles. It's on the verge of collapsing. But the good opportunity for Hungary is that we have the European Union, and the European Union can and wants to help any country, any member, including Hungary. The European Union withheld financial support to Hungary for 3 or 4 years because some serious problems, as I mentioned, with the rule of law and corruption. But the good news is that this money is still there. So if the new government can fulfill those criteria, which are valid for every member of the European Union who benefits European Union financial support, and if the Hungarian government is ready to fulfill these requirements, there is about 15 billion euros on the accounts in Brussels, different accounts that can be dispersed to Hungary. What our calculation is that Hungary needs a one-time injection of about 10 billion euros. So it is there. And then this 10 billion euros, if it comes in, it will not be easy because it's not money that's just money transfer from Brussels to Budapest, but it has to be tied to not only the criteria that I mentioned, but also some concrete projects, what we want to spend it for. But I think it shouldn't be a problem. It's a challenge. We have to do it, and we have to do it quickly. But I think it's not impossible. It's more than possible that we can do it. So we will get this support, and that will give us time to create the new structures that will function, that will eradicate this kind of corruption, that will restore the rule of law. And then the Hungarian economy should function as all the other economies, all the new members, so to say, all those economies who are members of the European Union, and we will continue receiving financial support also in the next 7-year budget of the European Union, but on a different scale, on a normal scale that every country is entitled to receive. So there is something good in everything that's bad, and therefore I think we are now in a good position actually to restart the economy, to restore the rule of law, and the incoming government is fully committed to do that.
Thank you. Talking about the government formation from an institutional perspective, how does government formation proceed in Hungary after parliamentary elections? What are the key stages, and where do potential political bottlenecks or crises typically emerge?
Well, the election victory of the Tisza party, that's the name of the new party, is so huge that almost any possibility to undermine the government at this point is probably excluded. There were some warnings that this or that might happen. It did not happen. It was a smooth, very democratic, gentleman-like transfer of power. It is going to be the electoral victory. The Tisza part has about 70% of the seats in the parliament. So there is an opposition, which is good. We need an opposition, but the 2/3 majority that the Tisza part has, according to the Hungarian constitution, enables the government also to change almost everything that they want. Even the constitution, they can change with 2/3 majority. But there are some urgent issues that need to be changed. There are some functionaries in the Hungarian governing system, like the president of the country, like the Constitutional Court or the Supreme Court, that can only, or the very important, the chief prosecutor, the president of the National Bank, who have been appointed. It was a very smart move by Fidesz for their perspective. They have been appointed for 9 or 12 years. And it can only be changed. They can only be changed with a 2/3 majority of the parliament. Now the Tisza part has the 2/3 majority. So they can change. They can change the president. They will. They will change all these functionaries, with one exception, which shows that this is this is becoming a functioning democracy, which is the president of the National Bank. The president of the National Bank is a founding member of Fidesz. He has been a very close associate for Viktor Orbán. He is a very good expert. So he has always been, in the past few years, he has been pushed into the background because he has a professional view which contradicted to the not very professional view of the current minister or the previous president of the National Bank. He is a good guy, a very professional guy, and he will stay because the the government thinks that, first of all, he is good. Secondly, they don't want to disturb the markets by changing the president of the National Bank. So I think it's a very wise move on both sides. From him and from the government as well. But the rest should be changed because you cannot restore the rule of law with a constitutional court, which is all Fidesz appointees. That doesn't work. So that gives the government the chance, and also at the same time the challenge to use the system that was created to maintain, to cement in Fidesz governing, to use it to its own purpose. And then I think when it's done, new governing of the country can be pretty smooth. And two things that need to be changed can be started. The process leading to a new constitution. And the good news is that the government says that it should be a process, not just somebody is writing a new constitution, but it should be based on consultation with the people and with the opposition and with everybody. And the new electoral system, which should be much more create a level field for everybody. That might actually mean that the governing party might lose the next elections. And I think if this opportunity is there, as long as this opportunity is there, you can call the system democratic. And that's why I call even the outgoing Fidesz government and the system democratic, scale 5, let's say, because as we saw, even under those circumstances, the change of government was possible in a very correct, gentleman-like way. So, if it would be a dictatorship, if Orbán government would be a dictatorship, then this kind of change would not be possible. So. I think we can celebrate democracy in Hungary. The incoming democracy will be probably more democratic, but it's not a system change as we said.
There is a term in political science, blinking democracy. It means the democracy time to time, not all the time. And this blinking democracy is very, very often very natural situation for many Central Eastern European countries. But I wanted to ask you: is there any predicted calendar for forming this government? Do we know the possible dates when the new government will appear, will start its doings, and is Tisza able to build its own governing system, taking into account that Tisza needs a lot of professional people of middle level and so on? We are talking about hundreds and maybe even thousands of professional managers, which is not easy to find such a young party as a Tisza.
The process will be as it's prescribed in the constitution. It will be a smooth process. 12th of May, the new parliament will be formed. The president will propose a new prime minister, and then it will be a week or two before the new government takes over, because it's a democratic process. So the ministers have to go through a hearing in the parliament. So I think that will be good. As far as I can tell, the candidates who were mentioned for ministerial posts are pretty good, very good. I mean, we do have experts, we do have very professionals, and I give you one example of whom I'm very proud, and who is, for our purposes, very very important. The incoming foreign minister. The incoming foreign minister is a lady, a very good one. I mean, I can assure you that she is a good one, because she used to be my student, and then she was my deputy for many years, and we have been family friends, actually, the children, for 25, 30 years. So, and she is very professional. She used to be the number two of Vodafone Incorporation, the big company. You know, if a woman can rise to be number two of such a huge international corporation, that says something. She used to be ambassador for energy, which is also very important these days. So she is very good, and the rest is also pretty good. Not as good as she is, but still very good. It is, you are right, that we need to find. I mean, the government needs to find. We, Hungary, need to find professionals to run the country. But I think there are quite a few. What I expect is, and I still remember, you don't, I do, what happened in 1990. Many of the professionals in the government, in the governing system, the bureaucracy, were very happy to get rid of the previous system, and they were very happy to join the new government. Also, that was a systemic change, and still, I think I would even say suggest that most of those professionals were happy to join. So I think that it's what will happen this time in Hungary. It is happening already, actually, by the way, that we will find professionals in the government, and the government is the prime minister is very correctly saying that they don't want to keep those who committed crimes, or those who were in very high leading positions, or those who were openly talking or doing things against democratic procedures, but all the rest is asked to stay and to work with the government. And I think that's what will happen. So it will not be an easy process. Of course, that kind of change is always not easy, but I think it will be over by the summer. And then there are a few steps that the government can take immediately. For instance, joining the European procuratorship, that's one of the first steps. And if you do that, that is already a major step in the fight against bureaucracy. And it will have consequences, even if you don't want it. They do, but this will have consequences, positive consequences. The major problem will be the economy. That's, I think, but as I said, it's manageable. It will not be easy. It will not be a paradise in 2 months or 3 months, but I think it's manageable. I think the most difficult problem is to create a situation where half of the country does not hate the other one, because we have such a huge split within Hungary that you almost, I mean, you are Ukrainian, so you can imagine it probably,
Yeah.
but many countries cannot. You know, I know that some people in my family also were getting a nervous collapse because the government lost elections, because they thought that's the end of their world. Some others were cheering like it would be Christmas party. So the good news is that the young people are behind the government, 80% of the young people voted for this government. But this is also dangerous because young people change their opinion very quickly. If they are naive, they think that now they voted in a new government and therefore in 2 weeks everything will be fine. So they might even have doubts in 2 weeks or 2 months or whatever. But this is all the challenge. I think if the government is not able or not ready to stand up to this challenge, then it will not be a good government. They have to live up to the expectations to the extent possible. And then, of course, comes the outside world. It comes an Ursula von der Leyen and a Donald Trump, and they will have to satisfy both, which is almost impossible, but it has to be done. Because for Hungary and for many other countries, I mean, whatever you think of her or him, you have to expect that she is the president of the Commission and he is the president of the United States, like it or not. So we have to work with them. I think it might be easier with Ursula von der Leyen, but I think Trump is not impossible either. So there were signs. Donald Trump sent some messages that show in the direction that, as America always did, they are ready to work with any government that is in power. So I expect that the transition in the Hungarian-American relations will be smooth. The Hungarian-EU relations, there is much more to be done, but I think that's also can lead to some positive changes. There will be conflicts. There are a few things where even the new Hungarian government will not comply with what the European Union or NATO says. I tell you one or two which is important for Ukraine. They will not deliver weapons to Ukraine. But that's not the only country in the world who doesn't deliver weapons, and also the weapons that Hungary could deliver, even if we wanted, would not change the situation on the ground in Ukraine. But I mean, politically there will be a few conflicts, but I think they are manageable. Much more a challenge will be to fulfill the requirements, and it's not only requirements of the European Union. All these requirements, all the 27, show in the direction of restoring the rule of law in Hungary. So it is in our interest. It's secondary, very important, but it's secondary that the European Union also wants them. The most important thing is that it's necessary for Hungary to survive.
And talking about, we started to talk about the external policy, international policy of Hungary. How do you think it will be end between the new government and European Union? It will be some kind of strategy from Peter Magyar's government toward European Union, of strategy of deeper integration, or toward a more pragmatic renegotiation on its position? Because what I'm also worried about that Hungarian public opinion is still more conservative than liberal. If we will count the votes of three parliamentary parties, and new government will reach a lot of internal restrictions to some kind of liberal European policy. What kind of policy they will try to fulfill in Europe? It will be renegotiation of Orbán's problem, or it will be maybe a deeper integration and Hungary will become a new Netherlands or something like this?
Well, many people do not understand, for understandable reasons, where the Hungarian people stand. The Hungarian people, 80% of the Hungarian people supports European Union membership. Hungary is not a conservative religious country. The Catholic people who exercise Catholic religion, which means not believers, but who go to church every Sunday, is 13%, is the second lowest after the Czech Republic. the Hungarian public, and I tell you that's something that is very telling. The big majority of the Hungarian people accept same-sex relationships. They do not support adoption adoption to be allowed for same-sex couples, but everything else. So that shows that yes, Hungarian public is conservative, as all of the public opinions in all the former socialist countries. I mean, look at Poland or all the others. But it's not this kind of conservative that some people think. It's a conservative liberal, so to say, public opinion in Hungary, and the new government wants to use this. In the relation with the European Union, if you have a constituency that 80% of which supports something, you cannot ignore it. So they don't want to ignore it, also because it's very beneficial to Hungary. Hungary will move towards more integration. There is already a commitment, a public commitment made by the government that we will join the Eurozone, and they will set a deadline for that because joining is in the agreement that we have with the European Union, but they will set a concrete date. So there will be some steps where more integration will come to Hungary. There will be certain issues where Hungary will not join the mainstream of the European Union. The major, most important issue, I think, where we had and we will have a different opinion is migration. If you want, this government is more strict on migration, because the outgoing government has allowed the influx of more than 50,000 guest workers from Asia, for instance, China, Philippines, etc. This government, the prime minister, made a commitment that from June 1 of this year, nobody coming from a non-EU country will be allowed to migrate into Hungary. So that's a very strict position. The thing is that although Hungary is not joining the mainstream strategy of the European Union, but as it looks like the European Union, the mainstream is joining the Hungarian strategy. I mean, it's a little bit exaggerated. So I think that will be that the Hungarian policy will be different and difficult, but it will not contradict 180% or degrees to the European Union. The rest, I think we will have some cosmetic or minor difficulties, like I said about Ukraine. Hungary will continue importing oil from Russia. They will diversify, which is understandable. You know, if you start diversification and in the process for 2 years, 3 years, I don't know how long, you continue importing Russian oil through Ukraine, by the way, then it's understandable and it's acceptable, especially in the current situation in the world markets. The most important thing that they start diversification through the Adria and some other pipelines or LNG terminals, etc. I think it will be a good move from Ukraine to restore the friendship, the Barátság pipeline. I think that I will teach it to my students that this whole event was the most stupid political event on both sides, actually. Now, hopefully, it will go away. It's only the Russians who benefited from, and we both the Hungarians and the Ukrainians were serving Russian interests by our behavior in this.
What about the Hungarian minority and in Ukraine in this all the issue of rights of this minority, language, school, and so on? Is there a chance that this issue could be resolved between the new government of Hungary and all the old government of Ukraine?
Well, also, I think this is the other example where both governments were very stupid and were basically following a policy that damaged their own interests. I think what the Hungarian government should do, and I'm advising the Hungarian government not only here through you, but also otherwise, to take the agreement that was signed between the Romanian and the Ukrainian presidents a few days ago, actually, to take out the tax on minorities and put it into a Hungarian-Ukrainian agreement. That's very simple. The Ukrainian government, President Zelensky, will accept it because he signed it already with the Romanians. And of course, he will not say that the Romanians are good guys and the Hungarians are not good guys. And I think this is something that the Hungarian government should also accept, and then revive the work of the bilateral commission, Ukrainian-Hungarian commission, and task this commission to follow the implementation. And I think that will solve the problem. I mean, on the level of the two states, the problem of the minority will be there for a long time. I mean, minorities will always have problems. I mean, it's almost an impossible situation, unfortunately. But I think this is the way out. So this kind of conflict between the two countries can be solved very quickly.
But
I have one more advice, not only in this context, for the Hungarian and Ukrainian politicians, including prime ministers and presidents. Shut up.
Fully agree. But talking about the Ukrainian integration to European Union, it also was an issue between the governments. And what will be position of the Hungary in Peter Magyar's government? It will be positioned like Poland, which is lobbying Ukrainian integration, or it will be something more cold, like in Germany or France, more conservative approach toward Ukrainian integration? Or is there a risk of a new blockade of Ukrainian European integration?
Well, I think Hungary will support membership, as Hungary did actually before Orbán voted for it a few months ago. So we will continue this policy. We will oppose the so-called accelerated membership because it's idiotic. It cannot be done. I mean, simply it's stupid. It's a political slogan that is very counterproductive. But I think we need to take Ukraine. Ukraine is a special case. You cannot say that membership of Serbia and North Macedonia is the same. They should be members when they fulfill the criteria. So in this respect, it's the same. But Ukrainian situation is different. If you look at what Ukraine really needs from the European Union, it's two things: money and markets and security. That's what's needed. And the European Union can provide these two without full membership. Money is going to flow. That's, I think, in the cards without membership, much more than what membership will eventually produce. Also, markets are increasingly free for Ukrainian products. We should work on that as well. Security. My view is that we should recognize something in the Lisbon Treaty that we have not ever recognized or talked about. It is the Article 47/2 of the Lisbon Treaty. Article 47/2 says in the Lisbon Treaty, it's in force. It's in force. This commitment is in force. It says that basically says what Article 5 of the NATO treaty says in a more committing way. So there is no need in the implementation in the text of the treaty. There is no need for additional decisions by the North Atlantic Council or anything. So it's automatic. And wisely enough, the second paragraph of this article says that it should be basically implemented in cooperation with NATO. So that would bring security guarantees to Ukraine and bring in NATO without NATO membership. I mean, you know that I've been advocating Ukraine's NATO membership for a long time. I think it still would be a good move. It would serve Russian interests too. It would be much better for Russia to see Ukraine in NATO. And I'll tell you why. Because Ukraine outside NATO is absolutely free. If there is a change in Ukrainian politics and some nationalist forces come to power in Ukraine, which you cannot exclude, then there is no control over the Ukrainian armed forces. If Ukraine is a NATO member, in terms as Germany became NATO member, that all the armed forces of the country were under NATO command, then Russia would be much freer than, or much safer in their own terms. But anyway, that's not possible now. So let's go for Articles 47/2, and that could be made a separate agreement between Ukraine and the European Union, or those who are ready to do it. Just simply implement this article before full membership of Ukraine. It's possible. There is example. There are precedents for that. So I think that's where we should do, especially because also NATO is going towards a much stronger European defense autonomy. So I think it's high time that the Europeans also act on their own interests, not only because we like Ukraine, but because it's in our interest. As I said in 1991, when Ukraine became independent, and Hungary was not yet in NATO, that there are two pieces of security guarantees that Hungary needs. The most important security guarantee is NATO membership, and the second most important is an independent Ukraine. So we get it with that.
Not buffer. I fully agree with you. Moreover, in Ukrainian language, we have some kind of proverb which is saying, you need to choose what do you need, taxi or a ride. And we need ride, even if there is no taxi with the name of NATO on it. We need a real political approach for solutions for Ukrainian security and economical issues. And of course, I fully agree it could be found without membership and without any additional commitments of participations of unions and so on. It could be found through the agreements, special agreements. Thank you very much, Istvan, for such a great interview. Dear friends, today with me was Dr. Istvan Gyarmati, Ambassador, President of the International Center for Development and Democratic Transitions, and we were talking about the Hungary, about the future of the Hungary after this significant political shift. Thank you very much and see you again.
Thank you. See you soon.
See you soon.
Thanks.